Hey everyone, I'm C2 and welcome to part 3 of my review of Hyperdimension Neptunia. To start off, I do have to apologize about the last comment I made on my previous review about the whole freezing during combat. I actually made a mistake. It's not because of the import that caused this whole freezing during combat issue. I was just mad, and that's why I naturally assumed, because I thought even the original creators on the original game in Japan would have gotten it right. But no. Apparently a friend told me about this, like I couldn't find it online. The whole reason for the whole freezing issue, even in the original game, is because the game designers only designed Neptunia to be played in 720 resolution. Yeah, a PS3 exclusive game only to be played in 720 resolution. I don't know, as the creators. I can't understand why they would do that. But yeah, it wasn't because of any bug through the import or local system incompatibility. It was just the game itself. Yeah, just like everything else in this game. So anyways, back to the review. Last time I've only been focusing up to this point about the whole game mechanics, about the boring combat system, the unable to heal yourself, the freezing at the end of quests, and obviously this graphical issue. Oh, and as well as the text being too damn small to even read, especially at 720 resolution. Yeah, anyways, so I'm gonna try and calm down, like, to not make any more mistakes and just focus on actually reviewing the story of the game, because I haven't really gone too much in depth about that, and although it doesn't really get much better than this. So anyways, enjoy, I'm gonna mellow, and let's just focus on the story for hopefully the rest of these reviews. Let's get into it.
Thus, the Powerpuff Girls were born! Using their ultra superpowers, Blossom, Bubbles, and Buttercup have dedicated their lives to fighting crime and the forces of evil!
Oh shit, sorry people, I accidentally left my other TV on. Anyways, we last left our heroes in a dungeon on Leanbox where we were continuing to search for the powerful monsters that had the key fragments that will help us free history from our seal. Unfortunately, despite the information that we've been given by the Basicom, this dungeon is also another dud, so let's just move on to the next one. Although when I say that, I honestly didn't know where to go from here because no new information about Leanbox appears in the world or landmass info, and there's no dungeons that were labeled scenario, which are the dungeons that progress the storyline in the game. So with no other option, I decided to go back to Plenitude to see if I missed something. To get there, I once again had to travel through the same dungeon I first used in order to get to Leanbox, and of course, no new treasures or stronger monsters were in the dungeon. It actually wasn't until much later in the game that I realized that the game doesn't allow you to fully progress through one landmass's storyline completely in one setting. The problem lies in that the game itself is technically an open world game where you're free to go to any of the landmasses at any time instead of the game guiding you through one specific one where you must complete the story before you can move on to any of the others. But here's the problem. Say you want to go to one landmass and you start off as level 5, and by the time you finish the storyline for that landmass, you're going to be level 20, and then you move on to the next landmass. The first dungeon you go to is only going to be set for a level 5 player, so you'd be completely broken, and where's the fun in that? So instead of just creating a program to scale the dungeons for each landmass upon completing a different landmass's storyline, they decide to force you to stop right in the middle of your current storyline at a certain point and force you to go to another landmass and start up that storyline to a certain point, and then go to the third landmass to start up that storyline to a certain point before you can actually go back to your first landmass and continue with the story to a certain point. Because I think it does it like 2 or 3 times that you have to do this whole stop and go process between one storyline before you're allowed to actually finish off that storyline. And an example of how it would be like is, say you read a Harry Potter book, and you read that for a few chapters, and then you stop. And then you start reading a Lord of the Rings book for a few chapters, and then you stop. And then you start reading a Chronicles of Narnia book for a few chapters, and then you stop. And then you can finally go back and start reading that Harry Potter book again. I mean, it kills all sense of immersion and depth to the game because in the story because you're forced to stop because they couldn't think of scaling the other storylines after you complete a storyline, a different storyline for the game. I mean, why couldn't they just scale it? It's not that hard. It's been done before. It's not that... Okay, whatever. I don't want to get angry. Gotta calm down. Well, it also doesn't help the fact that you have to also go through the same stupid bridge every single time you want to travel between the landmasses to complete parts of the story. Okay, stop. Okay, let's just move on.
Anyway, since I didn't realize that at the time, I thought I'd missed something and decided to go back to Planetoon. The land of purple progress... What?
I want that purple stuff.
Okay, so we came back here to try and see if there's any new information that might help progress the story on Leanbox, but all I really got were these cutscenes about jukeboxes and a Tetris reference. I honestly never really found these game references to be all that funny because all we ever see is Nipple and gang talking about them as they're seeing them, and we the players have to figure out what it is based on by the description they give. The references themselves have no relevance to the game's story, so while it's funny the first few times, it wears off fairly quickly, especially when you never actually get to see the references as they happen or see it play out as part of the actual story. Anyways, enough farting around, let's go on to the next landmass. This time I decided to go to Last Station, the land of black regality. Okay, now I had to look up the definition of regality because I really hoped it didn't have any connection to the word regulate. Luckily, regality's actual definition is about royalty, so this is the land of black royalty. Man, I haven't seen such dangerous word uses since I watched that spelling bee.
Negus.
The landmass of Last Station is actually the only landmass that I felt properly represented its respected console accurately as a place that has tried to stay technologically above the other landmasses. It's a little prejudiced though, considering the game only came out on the PS3. So anyway, the gang goes to the Last Station Basilcom to get information on monsters so they can get key fragments, but Moderator rejects their request because if the Last Station Defense Force has no chance against the monsters, then what chance do these little girls have? So Moderator tells them off with threats to hurt them and, hostile much? And Nipple proceeds to break the fourth wall. Yeah, they break the fourth wall a lot in this game. So they leave since they can't get any information and decide to try and get information on monsters in town, which is kinda ambiguous considering we never actually get to pick any towns to go into in this game. So we get in touch with a girl named Chian who wants us to protect her carriages and train cargo from monster attacks. With no other leads at hand, Nipple decides to take on the job. Oh crap, before I forget, let's check Blackheart's blog. You never want to fall behind on your blog entries.
今日の記事はいつもとはちょっと方向性を変えて移住を考えている人たちのためにラステーションがどんな大陸なのかをラステーションのハードである私ブラックハートが紹介してあげる重厚なる黒の大地と呼ばれているラステーションみんながわかりやすい言葉で言うと重機の大陸やスチームパンクねプラネティーヌに比べるとまだ発展途上だけどだからこそ毎日のように新しい技術やものを生み出すことができるのこれが重厚なる黒の大地ラステーションの概要よ分かってくれたかしら
No. Just no. I'm not gonna make a comment. Just move on. Keep going. I'm not gonna comment. No. Not gonna say anything. Move on!
Anyways, we go to the Windy Wasteland upon Chian's request to kill cockatrix. Wait, I thought we were supposed to protect our carriages and train from monsters, so why are we in a cave? I don't see any train tracks, and why would a carriage even come through this cave? I mean, it's got roadblocks, and the doors are too small to fit a vehicle through. Well, whatever. Nipple takes care of the cocks anyways. Afterwards, Nipple questions the connection between the monsters, goddesses, and the faith of humanity, and how the goddesses' power seems to grow weaker due to the lack of faith. How it works is humanity's faith in the goddesses are what gives them their power. When a monster attacks and kills people, the faith starts to go down, and which in turn makes the goddesses weaker. You know, concerning this fairly logical and understandable relationship between the goddesses' power and faith, why didn't they implement that into the game mechanics in any way? I mean, if I could get bonuses or power-ups by increasing people's faith in me by doing side quests, then I would actually have some incentive to actually do them. So we get paid 1,000 credits, which isn't even enough to cover a single item skill use, and learn that the company called Avenir is monopolizing the industries in Last Station and causing smaller companies to close down. Wait, why are we talking about fighting capitalism here? Why do we need to stop Avenir? They haven't done anything to us. Let's stay focused here, people! Anyway, we go to Chion's factory, where they apparently make everything from kitchenware to missiles, and decide to go to Chion's home, where it is also a restaurant. Boy, talk about diversifying yourself. Apparently Chion and other companies are not able to support themselves because Avenir steals away all their business. So Nipple wants to take them down despite that they haven't done anything to us! Chion mentions a technology expo that takes place every 4 years for people to present their latest products as well as make connections. Chion's goal is to win at the expo and then talk to the goddess for a negotiation. But here's the thing I don't get. What does this have to do with talking to the goddess? I mean, can't you just go up and talk to the goddess now? Are you otherwise restricted from seeing her? And besides, what would you have her do? Destroy Avenir, costing people their jobs as well as further hurting the otherwise down economy simply because they're doing better than you? Oh god, I gotta stop talking about politics and economics. I'm supposed to be playing a game here. Anyways, Chion thanks us again for the help and hopes that we can help her with the expo later on. So Nipple and gang go and work for Avenir. Wait, what? Didn't we just go over how Avenir is an evil company and we must destroy them?
理想だけじゃ食べてけないでしょ。ご飯も仕事も好き嫌いしてたら立派な大人にはなれないってこと。ちゃんとして、依頼主が来たわ。
Oh, you hypocritical bitch!
はじめまして。アブニールのサンジュさんです。
Is it just me or does Kampa's eyes have that look of a yandere about to chop off someone's head and go sailing with it? Okay, seriously, why did she make those eyes? Is it because they're a soulless corporation and she wanted to appease them with soulless eyes? Jeez. Okay, well, so apparently we're working for Avenir now and they want us to go kill some monsters for them. I haven't done anything yet. Wait, so there's no dungeon crawling? Oh, wait. I guess we're doing something outside in the open and not in a dungeon, so that's why we can't actually play the part. But wait, there was that part in the forest that was like a dungeon with the snow before, but hell, I don't really get it, but we're skipping this part, so I might as well be grateful since we continue with the story. Anyway, Singe returns and says that if anything damages the facilities, he will never work with us again and snaps at us for degrading machines because apparently he's got some sort of man crush for machines and hates humans.
大して役にも立たん人間の分際で機械を軽んじるなどおこがましい。人に機械ほどの精密さがあるか。人に機械ほどの正確さがあるか。
そんなこと言われてもわかんないです。
そうだな。君は機械ではなく不完全な人間だ。いつどこでミスをするかわからない。だが私は人間だから。
Okay, from now on, I'm going to be calling Avenir Skynet. Anyways, after betraying Chion and working for Skynet, Nipple and gang decide to go see her again for another job. Wow, we are just whoring ourselves out to everyone now, aren't we? Were we on some, you know, grand mission to save the world? Anyone want to take a stab at getting back at that? No? Well, regardless, the radio comes on and announces that the Tech Expo has been cancelled due to lack of participation, so hey! Looks like we can get back on track now! But no, we can't have that happening now, can we? We already accepted a job from Chion as well as another job to find a lost child, apparently.
世界を救うためとはいえ、目の前の人を放っては本末転倒です。あのお母さん、とっても心配してたです。街の外にはモンスターさんもたくさんいるですよ。急いで見つけないと。食べられたら食べられたでいいじゃない。自然の摂理よ。
Babies get eaten all the time? Dude, that's just wrong on every level! Are we honestly having a conversation here where we're rationalizing the deaths of infants by consumption?
それより、その子って全身シルエットだから見つけやすいわよってその子のお母さんが言ってたです。
Easy to spot. How the hell are they easy to spot when they're just a black silhouette and they look like all the other black silhouettes? I mean, you can't even tell what their gender is, and if they hid in the shadows, they'd be completely invisible, so how on earth would they be easy to spot? And, okay, calm down, C2. You said you'd be calm and do this review in a calm, cool manner. Okay, alright, let's just keep going.
So we fight our way through the dungeon and reach the end, where instead of fighting a monster, we find that someone has already killed it. As Ayef examines the monster, Blackheart shows up on the scene. Apparently, having been the one to kill the monster and saving the child we set out to save. She explains that she has returned because she found out that Nipple had taken up the job as well. Nipple, of course, doesn't remember Blackheart due to her amnesia, and apparently no one else seems to recognize her as being the goddess of the station either. You know, considering she is a goddess of this landmass, you would think people would know what she looks like, or there would be statues or paintings of her that you could reference. I mean, hell, she's got a blog for God's sakes. Has no one ever seen her in this form? Well, I guess apparently not. I guess it's her secret identity. But then again, how exactly are you playing to garner more faith if the people you're saving don't even know who you are? Anyways, we have to fight her, and apparently this situation, it's gonna be 3-on-1 in our favor. So we win the fight and Blackheart runs away, leaving them with more questions about Nipple and her past. And with no leads on the problems with the Expo and the Basilcom, the gang decides that more information is needed. With no one else to ask, the gang decides to go find heretics, who are people that were kicked out of the Basilcom for no longer believing in their respective goddess. Considering they were once members of the Basilcom, they logically should have some knowledge about its internal workings. So it's off to the abandoned mines for Nipple and gang, because where else would heretics like to hide other than a dark cave full of monsters? It's mandatory in RPGs. Upon finding the heretic, who I might add seemed to give up the information fairly easily, tells us that the Basilcom is controlled by the Parliament, and the Parliament only cares about money. Gee, government corrupted by corporations. Who would imagine that happening? Anyways, the heretic guy starts tripping out about the approaching apocalypse, saying that all humanity will end by some guy called Overlord Mamus, who is apparently powerful enough to have sealed one of the goddesses, I'm assuming Nipple, and forced the other goddesses to flee to game industry due to his overwhelming power. The heretic, suddenly enraged that we killed monsters to get here, tells us to leave, so we do. Kind of anticlimactic given that we just got a vital piece of plot information, but whatever. We finally got some form of an actual plot for this game now. The gang goes over the information they just learned, and IF makes the point that history might actually be the villain tricking them. History suddenly chimes in at this point to disprove this claim. History also warns us that the one who sealed her away is apparently going to attack us soon.
あなたたちにも妨害の手が伸びるでしょう。あの人？そういえば知っています。でも言えませんでした。その名前を言ってしまったら、あの人を悪者扱いしてしまうよ。
Okay, so let me get this straight. This person has sealed you away, driven the goddesses from their homeland, has sent monsters upon the world that are eating babies and the military can't stand against, and plans to bring about the apocalypse of the world and kill all living life as we know it. And you still can't treat this person as a villain? What's wrong with you?
So apparently the one who is causing all this mess is called R4, but that's all we get to know because history apparently forgot to pay her service provider this month. With this new information in hand, the gang returns to Chian now that she has calmed down over the news about the Tech Expo, and are asked to go collect the parts she needed earlier. Oh, but before that, I just wanted to take a break off the story for a second to show just how bad the subbing can get in Neptunia with this one blog entry by Blackheart.
こんなに可愛いのかしら。にゃあ。なんちゃって。
Okay, yeah, she said everything up to the just kidding part, but what the hell is with the OMG part? I mean, hell, it's even misspelled for God's sakes. They didn't even space between some of the lines. I mean, it's like the subber suddenly had a cat love attack or seizure or something. Whatever, let's just get the machine parts for Chian. You know, I have to wonder, but maybe the reason their businesses are not doing so well is because their shops are located inside of dungeons surrounded by monsters. Anyways, at the shop, we learned from Chavez about Chian's backstory and how Skynet is evil, yada yada yada, not really important or relevant to the plot. Let's just get on with the next job.
シアンの父親が死んだ後、母親の方から経営者として戻らないかって話もあったん。
それでシアンさんが社長さんになったですか。なんか。
Which, despite all the claims we just made about how Skynet is evil, is to once again help them out. But this time it is to help an employee who's being attacked by monsters.
従業員さんもアブニールの人なら自分の工場で作ったアブニールは社長の方針で
Wait, don't make weapons for human use? You see? You see? They're arming their machines to get ready for the coming machine war. Terminators, people. They're coming. So we find the missing person who apparently knows us, but I do not recall us ever actually meeting this person before. I mean, who could forget a face like that? Anyways, we learned that the Tech Expo is apparently back on, which is good news for Chian. The next story event that we're forced to go through, considering there isn't really any reason for us to be in this dungeon, is to once again run into Blackheart, whom for no real reason we fight again. And win against. And we don't get any new information again.
ラステーションは実は変形して巨大ロボだったり
Oh, please, that's ridiculous. So anyways, Blackheart escapes again.
So we just returned Chian with news about the Tech Expo just as they announced that it's reopening on the radio, and that the Parliament is sponsoring it, which leads the gang to believe that Skynet is gonna cheat.
わかんねえよ、アブニールの目的なんて。だけど30、代表の目的ならわかる。
何それロボットだらけの世界を作りたいとかそういうことさては機械オタク
I'm telling you people, they're Skynet. They're building Terminators that look like the former governor of California. We must warn the people. Meanwhile at the Basicom, Blackheart is in the middle of a secret meeting with the Skynet person we saved, and apparently they're plotting to kill Nipple. Yeah, that's the last time I'm gonna do that guy any favors.
なかなか大掛かりなものです。残念ながら予定。
別に急げとは言わないわ。でもどう？
こちらはこちらで、こまめにネプテューヌさんを見てきましたが、女神様はのんびりと彼女が倒されるのをお待ちくださればいいのですよ。
Ah, crap, I spoke too soon. Anyways, back to Nipple. We take another job for Skynet to fight monsters inside one of their factories. You know, game, revealing important plot points to players without letting the characters learn about it, it kind of breaks the whole RPG experience, because I sure as hell would not want to take a job from a group of people I now know want to kill me. Well, regardless, we kill the monsters and deliver it to Skynet. And then we proceed to run into Blackheart again, who apparently is doing a one-woman tsundere act.
話じゃなくてネプテューヌ
And we fight her yet again, and she runs away. Again. This time, Nipple actually chases after her and catches her, but Blackheart, having reverted to her human form, is unrecognizable by Nipple. Nipple tells Blackheart about her memory loss, which Blackheart now believes, and upon noticing that she is bleeding, decides to take Blackheart to town with her. Kampa gives first aid to Blackheart and starts to make friends with everyone. Apparently, though, none of them seem to recognize that she's Blackheart, despite the fact her picture can be seen on a public blog we've looked at multiple times. Shit, anyways, Blackheart and Nipple have a little heart-to-heart talk about the role of a goddess and if Nipple ever wants to become one. After Blackheart confirms Nipple's feelings of not wanting to become a goddess anymore, she leaves while Nipple is asleep. We then go to Chion, who is preparing for the expo, who wants us to work for her booth by demonstrating the weapon she will showcase. Chion gives us a test model to, of course, test it out to see if there are any defects by fighting monsters with it.
And this is where the Last Station story arc comes to an end. I tried using that weapon on a few dungeons to see if it was just a matter of getting a certain amount of kills with that weapon, because she said to test it out, and, you know, that's just what I actually thought. But nope. Doesn't work. I have to go to another landmass and start that storyline. So I think now this is a good place to stop. So until next time, I'm C2, and what the hell is that in the viewfinder? Oh shit!
Give him all!